Hey, everybody, and welcome to Straight Jacket White Rabbit. My name's Adam, and I'll be your host as usual. Today, I want to talk to you guys about the Hollywood elite, the people behind the scenes, and some of them in front of the camera. There's been a lot of conspiracy theories over the years involving Hollywood, you guys. One of the most popular right now gaining traction is a conspiracy theory from QAnon called the Adrenochrome conspiracy. This conspiracy hails that a large portion of Hollywood elites and government elites are involved in child abductions, child trafficking, specifically for the reasons of gaining the adrenochrome from them. Now, adrenochrome is something you can get from these children, yes, and we do have a way to now synthesize adrenochrome in labs. So a lot of people are asking, well, why are they taking the adrenochrome? It doesn't seem to have any major benefits that people can see. And the conspiracy theory that I've read in on about this talks about how it's supposedly used in a ritual that gives them longevity or youth or any number of things, kind of like a fountain of youth thing. It just depends on which version you read. Some of them say it keeps them young, some of them says it keeps them healthy, or some of them just says that it's a way that they keep getting lucky and getting in power, and it's basically like a ritual. So it all depends on which version of the adrenochrome conspiracy that you read as to what you get out of it, what the end goal is. But they all tend to agree that there is a child trafficking ring that involves Hollywood elites. Some of them say Hollywood elites and the actual parts, or some parts and people from the federal government, to where these kids are disappearing and being trafficked away so that people can harvest adrenochrome. Now, I don't necessarily believe it's 100% accurate. I think there are some things that they may have left out due to not knowing. Or maybe it's just my own slant on it, what I see. I'm going to go in on it like this. I've talked in one of my previous episodes about vampires like Dracula are, what everyone thinks of when you say vampire. But a large portion of the vampires that exist today are not all bloodsuckers. They do on occasion, even the psychic vampires, they do drink blood. There have been a lot of people in Hollywood who have thrown a fit over people drinking each other's blood, like Machine Gun Kelly and Megan Fox, licking each other's blood. This is not a shock to me, you guys. Anywhere where you have positions of power, you have people, knowingly or unknowingly, who are psychic vampires. They feed off of sexual energy, anger, fear, popularity. They feed literally on people's gushing emotions of love for them. There are a lot of different psychic vampires, you guys, and here's how I break this down. I do believe that there could be a very large cabal of Hollywood elites and or a mixture of them and government that could be behind a lot of these missing people cases, assault cases, missing people who turn up later perfectly fine, as well as missing people who don't. But here's my take on this. Are these Hollywood elites and everything really draining adrenochrome? Or is this simply an attack from the vampire world as far as psychic vampires go? I mean, think about it. The ones who are found, they look, I'm not going to say aged. They didn't get older as in they look older, you guys. But they seem somewhat less lively. They seem zoned out and worn down and just the sunk eyes. a lot of the people who have come out against Hollywood saying over the years that they were child actors who were assaulted on multiple occasions and things of this nature. Corey Feldman being one of them. There's a lot of people like him in Hollywood who, as child stars, said that they were abused by actors and producers and agents and all manner of directors and people of this ilk, you guys. So, one way or another, the abuse in Hollywood is real. But here's my aspect of it, you guys. I really do believe that a lot of these attacks center around psychic vampires. Their numbers have been building over the years because people don't consider that to be a vampire. They laugh it off when you say psychic vampire. Oh, that person's just feeling tired. Or they were being drained by someone near them. You guys, it's not a natural state for us to feel like we can't move or we have no energy, especially not when we're doing things that you should have energy for. I'm not saying that having no energy means you are attacked by a psychic vampire, okay? But if you're doing everything you should be doing and eating everything you should be eating and taking care of yourself and spiritually and physically, there's no reason you should have zero energy. There's no reason you should feel like being in bed for days with sometimes a very deep, almost inner loathing. I'm not saying people don't have things like depression. It's a different thing, okay? I just don't want a bunch of angry comments. Those are different subjects. But what I'm saying is that when you are attacked, when you are attached to by a psychic vampire, you don't even know it sometimes. You just start getting a feeling of tiredness, listfulness. The only way I can really describe it is being drained. And I know that's, the pun, because vampire, psychic or not, being drained, it's kind of funny. But I believe that these child trafficking rings, as well as not just the Hollywood elite ones, you guys, I believe a lot of these rings around the world are designed, maintained, and functioned by monsters of one form or another. And I don't mean that in just the, humanitarian, God, you're a monster because you're hurting children and people and you're trafficking people. I mean literal monsters, you guys. I mean, think about this. There are many a tale of creatures who survive on the blood of humans. Folklore of different ancient species, folklore of different monsters. Vampires are one of them. Other ones include, there's literally a list a mile long, you guys. Look up throughout history, how many monsters do you read about in urban legends, folklore, all this stuff that feed on fear or blood or something to do with something from a human victim? A lot. Most of them. That's why we consider them monsters. Now, if these psychic vampires, and maybe real vampires, as well as Lord knows what other kind of beings could be trafficking children through whatever means and meeting undeniable end, that's a horrible thought. And it's a really bad accusation to make. But let's look at Hollywood, to be honest, you guys. Think about all the accusations you've seen over the last 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 years or more. These are not, you guys, these are not accusations that are new. P. Diddy trial aside, these are not accusations that are new. These celebrities, be it in the music industry, be it in, the entertainment industry, be it in politics, you guys, these people are constantly busted for doing very bad things of sexual nature. They're predatory. And I want to liken these attacks, these sexual psychic energy attacks, to like a succubus, you guys. Okay, you have to understand these people feed off of usually fear. And at the same time, they feed off of sexual energy, be it sexual frustration, be it gratification, be it all manner of sexual energy. There's not just the sexual energy ones, though, you guys. There are psychic vampires that feed off of, I mean, literally almost every range of heightened emotion can be fed off of. A lot of people believe that emotions are a key to energy, be it anger, happiness, calm. Our emotions can determine and the strength, I should say, of our emotions can actually enhance the strength of the energy even off of us. So that's kind of the area where I'm in right now. I don't believe that they're doing it because they're all some, whack job cult that's doing a ritual that's supposedly hundreds of years old, sometimes according to different accounts. Could that be the possibility? I mean, could they really be harvesting this from people? There's no solid proof, but there's not proof about a lot of things that are conspiracies, guys. That's why they're conspiracies. But I just tend to think that my theory about this is just as valid, in the fact that a lot of these people who have come out, they're not missing people. They're people who have come out and accused these things while still being alive and saying things strictly. They're not saying, "Oh my God, they strapped me down to a table and drained my blood." What most of them are saying is they were sexually attacked. They were molested. They were forced into, uncomfortable situations where they felt like they were being forced to reciprocate sexually for getting a part or getting an audition or this, that, or the other thing. Look at all the people with Bill Cosby drugging victims, being found guilty in a court of sexual assault. I mean, there's no other way to put it, you guys. There are a lot of people like this in Hollywood over the years that have been caught, who have many, many victims who survived. They don't necessarily mention adrenochrome or bloodletting or anything else, but a lot of them do mention sexual assault or intimidation, which is like, an increased fear, like these people fed off the fear they were causing in other people, which is another thing psychic vampires love, you guys. Feeding off the fear of individuals is right up there. Now, like I said, I'm not saying that there couldn't be both. There may very well be validity to both the adrenochrome conspiracy and the way I see the child trafficking conspiracy through our government and Hollywood. I absolutely believe that there are people involved in both that are completely innocent, and a lot, like 100%, some of them are on the 100% good side. I've witnessed actors who've left Hollywood in their careers because they were put in an uncomfortable position of compromising their morals, and they simply wouldn't do it. And Hollywood rejected them for having a moral standing. And I don't mean a moral standing from just religious viewpoints, you guys. I mean a moral standing from a human standpoint. There are certain things people don't want to do, and if you're not comfortable doing it and you say so, that should be respected. But in Hollywood, that's not the way it works. Hollywood is a machine of fear and pressure and, tension. Hollywood is not a game, you guys. You think politics is crazy and upside down and has all kinds of drama? Hollywood is way worse, and there are people who are into very weird things in Hollywood. I'm just going to leave it at that, because there are some people in Hollywood that I truly believe are possessed. Call it what you will. I'm not going to give out names right now, at least not on this one. I might go into one of those in the future. I got to check it out. I don't want to tick off anybody of that high of a caliber this early on in my YouTube career. So I'm not going to get into specific names of who I think are doing what if they haven't already been brought out into the public light. But there are a lot who've been brought out into the public light. So it gives me plenty of ammo to refer to without bringing up the ones that I also suspect of being either possessed or guilty in some way or another. Danny Masterson, you guys, another popular one that's happened in the last decade. Uh, he had multiple people talking about his assaults on them. And yeah, there are also reports that he may have been assaulted as a young child himself in Hollywood. And this is not surprising, you guys, that a victim would then perpetrate for the people who did that to them. It happens all the time in different scenarios around the world. But I do believe that this is one of the reasons. This is one of the reasons I tell everyone, man. The official statistics on missing people, number one, they're feeding you completely false data nowadays. It used to be even, I never believed it was 100% accurate, but the missing persons data in our country, guys, I honestly believe as a whole is probably closer to like 35 to 40% accurate. I do not believe the numbers anymore, not even close to the real numbers, because if you look back at how much they were rising, and then all of a sudden it kind of peaked and it barely started going, and everyone's like, oh, it's because we got safer. That's just not true. They're not feeding us the real numbers anymore. So there's no way to really tell anymore, unfortunately, how many people are really gone. I mean, if someone you know or someone in your family goes missing, but how many other people really know about that one person, let alone keep track of the thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands, if not millions of people that go missing? It's just kind of impossible to do accurately, and I don't think they're even trying. So could it be that the Hollywood elite and the government forces are abducting children and even adults? And I don't want to say abducting, I guess that would be the wrong word. Attacking children and adults just to siphon their life force, basically, their essence, in a psychic attack. A lot of people don't believe in psychic vampires, and you don't have to. What you have to understand is you can call it whatever you want. A lot of people see it and they go, oh, well, they're just trying to be in a position of power over other people, and they're addicted to that. A lot of people who are addicted to the power play position, you guys, once you get into power and you just need to exert your authority over someone, people who have that need very often turn out to be a psychic vampire. And as I've explained before, some people don't even know that they're psychic vampires, that they have the ability to drain the energy of other people near them to enhance their own energy output, life force, whatever you want to call it. It doesn't make you live longer, but it does make you more vibrant, more alive if you are able to do this. And there are people who are able to do it. So these are kind of just my thoughts on the whole, the whole QAnon conspiracy theory about adrenochrome. I do find it interesting. And maybe there's a connection that I'm missing between the adrenochrome and being able to drain somebody's energy. Maybe there's a key to it being some kind of we'll call it a physical diet for psychic vampires or for real vampires. Now, like I said, I'm not saying all of Hollywood is involved in this, you guys. I don't believe it's even half of Hollywood. I believe that there are very few key elite players and some underling players in Hollywood that are a part of this. And then I believe there are people who are not part of popular Hollywood that are the behind the scenes people that you don't really see every day. The producers, the directors, the studio executives, things of these nature. Jobs of these natures that keep them out of the public eye per se daily, not like they're actors. I believe those people get away with it a lot more often too, which is why you see a lot less of the big names that people are more aware of go down. And when you do, usually bad things happen. Epstein, I mean, granted, he's not really Hollywood, but there's a lot of people, you guys, who have connections to Hollywood who, when something bad gets found out about them, they mysteriously disappear or die. or get hit by a car. Just weird stuff happens to these types of people every day when they come out. And I mean, another thing is I wanted to say about real quick on the life force draining for psychic vampires. You guys, you have to realize this for real. Go look at some of these people like Feldman and others who have accused Hollywood producers of inappropriate behavior or casting agents of inappropriate behavior or other actors of inappropriate behavior. Look at the victims of Kevin Spacey and Bill Cosby and all these other people. And I know you could knock it off or chop it up to just, well, they were victims of a horrible thing. And I'm not saying they weren't. But look at them physically, you guys. They look, I can't even use another word, but depleted. They're just, they don't look vibrant and alive anymore, even in the eyes. Okay, you guys? They have that dead eyes. The just lifeless stare half the time. I believe this has to do with them being fed on multiple times over extended periods. Now, you have to remember, like I said, not all of these psychic vampires attack in the same way, too, you guys. It's not like these people know they're being attacked or abused or whatever to get a result. Yes, some of them like to make people afraid because they feed more on that fear energy, or they prefer that type of energy. Other people like to do it with the sexual energy, as I mentioned. Other psychic vampires don't care. They don't differentiate. They'll go right up next to someone standing on a subway car and just start feeding off people around them because they can, and it's how they feed. So, I mean, it depends on how discriminately they feed. I believe that the older ones tend to feed. I'm not even going to say the older ones, the wiser ones, the ones who know what they are. They know that they're psychic vampires. They tend to feed more indiscriminately off large groups of people. That's why I believe they're drawn into show business, is because, I mean, what better way to get a buffet than to be a celebrity? You literally have lines of cattle that you can eat that are lining up to let you be near them and to feed off their energy. I mean, I really believe that this is why there are so many in that industry and in politics. I mean, think about it. Senators and governors and presidents, and I mean, all these people are in the limelight 24/7, especially actors, you guys. I mean, you're on TV, your face is everywhere, you're loved by everyone, you're swamped by people when you go to the mall. A lot of these people could very well be a psychic vampire, I mean, whatever you want to call them, an energy drainer, negative amplification. I almost forgot the third one. Negative amplification. See, I did space it. There's another one that starts with negative amplification, if anyone knows it. I'll look it up here in a little bit. But there are all these different names for psychic vampires, you guys. But they do exist, and I do believe that Hollywood is harboring a very large amount of them, as well as political systems and other people, like, I don't want to say people jobs, that just sounds weird, but other jobs that bring an enhanced crowd of people, large crowds of people, specifically to see you, whether it's podcasters. I don't mean these people, yes, they love going to things where it's crowded areas just so they can feed anonymously off multiple people at once. But what I'm talking about is the ones who want to be the center of the attention. They want people flocking to them 24/7. And you'll see a lot of these people, and it's very easy to tell some of them because they all have the one common trait, you guys, is they're complete egomaniacs. It's always about them. oh, well, I did this and I did that. And yeah, my fans love me. And I love my fans. My fans love me and my fans adore me. When they start talking all about the me's and the I's constantly, to me, that gives you a clue of who's really who. And I'm not saying people don't do this, because they do, but this is just one of the things that you add together in the equation to kind of look and see who may be a psychic vampire. And the reason, you guys, is you have to remember, like, think of this as food, okay? Would you rather be, let's say, a stadium attendant at a major league stadium, where you could be around tons of people all the time and you could probably get more than your fill of food? Or if you're really into feeding off of people's admiration, like I said, they feed off different things, fear, other things like this. Some stars are treated like gods on this planet right now, you guys. There are people literally willing to lay down their life because, Jake Paul told them to, or Miley Cyrus told them to. Like, it's ridiculous. So you can't tell me that none of these people could be this. They're, I mean, a lot of them have the capacity to, if they have the ability to be a psychic vampire, to be in a very prime spot to feed publicly and never get in trouble for it, never be found out. I mean, you're dealing with millions of fans across a global scale sometimes with these actors. You have your pick of who to feed off of at that point. But these are just some things to consider. Like I said, I've not been a huge Adrenochrome conspiracy nut. I actually just recently came upon this in the last few months. I think it's interesting, but I honestly think that there might be a psychic link instead of a physical fluid that they're getting from these people, a physical element. I think this might be psychic feeding. So let me know what you think in the comments. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And always, I appreciate all of you guys. Have a good night.